Good morning. This is the fourth video in a series of videos I've been making about individual modules of the YouTube data tools. In the video description, you have the link to the YouTube data tools, but also to a playlist that contains all of the other videos I've made so far, including an overview video that provides a general introduction for the YouTube data tools. In this video, I'm going to be looking at the video list module. I'm gonna be talking you through the parameters, the different options for generating lists of videos, and quite a bit of metadata for each video. But I'm also gonna show you how to analyze the output files that this module generates. So it's probably gonna be a bit of a longer video. I'm going to be showing you how to work with Google Sheets again, as we already did in the channel list video. And that includes showing you how to work with pivot tables. Very, very powerful stuff. And I'm also going to go back to Gephi to show you how to analyze a so-called code tag network, which is also generated by this module, and I'm going to explain in a moment what that is. So, overview of the video list module, quite a bit of Google Spreadsheet stuff, and Gephi code tag network. So there's a lot of stuff happening in this video. But the video list module, I think overall is generally quite straightforward. There are 4 ways to generate lists of videos. I think 3 of them are pretty self-explanatory. And then, the search one is a bit more complicated. But okay, so we have 4 possibilities. The first one is, create a list of videos from a channel. This will download information for all of the public videos from a channel as specified by its channel ID. And this is what we're going to do in a moment. Second, very similar playlist. So maybe you have made a playlist or another channel has made a playlist and you want to get all of the videos from that playlist. You need a playlist ID, which you can normally just get from the URL of the playlist. You can also go into the channel info module and find all of the playlist IDs for a particular channel there. But in the end, very similar, get all of the videos from a playlist. Also very straightforward at the very bottom, manual selection. So you have a bunch of video IDs and you want meta information for those video IDs. Well, you put them there separated by a comma and you get a spreadsheet that contains the information for these videos. The search query option is a bit more complicated. So you can see there's a number of parameters here. But in general, you can use it very much like a search field. So you can just, dopamine, we're going to talk about that quite a bit later on, but just putting that here, right? That's the search query. You can use some Boolean parameters. Those are documented in the API documentation. You can specify a relevance language and a region code. This has some effect on the results, but as I've already argued in the video on the channel list module, it's really kind of the language of the query that is far more important than these parameters when it comes to selecting what videos you find. This can also change, right? So this is all determined by Google's, YouTube's search algorithms. Okay, but then next parameter, iterations. That's the number of results pages that are being taken into account. So if I leave it on 1, it gets up to 50 results. If I put it to 2, it's up to 100 results. And if I put it to 10 as the max, it's up to 500 video results. Leave it at 1 here. Interesting parameter, I think, is you can specify a time frame. So let's say, okay, I'm activating this here. I want all the videos for 2022. I'm starting on January 1st, 2022. And then I'm ending on January 1st, 2023. I could also put that to the last day of December, right? This would then be 2022, 12, 31. And then I would go to, well, really the last second of that year. But yeah, I think this is relatively straightforward. This can be, I think, really helpful, and is a good way to reduce the number of videos that you get. So that is important. You have one additional option here, and this is something that I would ask you to use with care and prudence. Well, I told you can basically, if you put 10 up here, you can get up to 500 videos. But if you select this option in conjunction with a time frame, it's gonna basically do one search per day in the time frame. So here we have specified a year. So it's gonna do 356 searches, each one of which can yield up to 500 results. So this is a way to get a much more complete sample or collection of videos, but it's also going to take much longer. So please be careful with that option. In particular, if you have a large time frame, it can consume a lot of resources. So as I say here, yeah, use wisely. Then there is the ranking box here, which is very similar also to the channel list box. Relevance is basically YouTube's appreciation of what it considers relevant for a particular search query. It's again gonna do a bit of keyword widening, so it's gonna look for synonyms. It's gonna produce more results than the other options here, but it's also probably the closest to what a user experiences when they search for a particular query. So it's kind of an interesting way of investigating what users see when they come to the web page. There are some caveats there. The results are not exactly the same. So, where you connect from plays a role. So this is really something you have to try out a bit. Finally, there's a new feature, which I haven't tested all that much so far, but it's interesting because it allows you to search for videos that have location data in their metadata, and you can basically say, okay, I'm using a point, like this here, for example, latitude, longitude, and then a radius, 100 kilometers, and then it finds the videos that have location information, which is, I think, a relatively small percentage of videos. And finds those videos as they correspond to the query, or I can actually leave the query empty and just find all of the videos for that particular location. To find a dot like this, you can go to Google Maps, click right just into somewhere in the map, and it's gonna give you the latitude and longitude. So you can just copy it. You can just copy it from there and then use it here. I've said I haven't tested it a lot, so I really don't know how stringent video creators are in adding location information. Could really depend on what you're researching, right? So take that into account. But okay, those are the 4 options for creating a video list based on a channel, playlist, search, or a bunch of video IDs that you already have. And then output options are 2. You can select, depending on what the software you want to use to analyze can deal with more easily. You can select between CSV and so comma separated and tab separated. And the default is CSV, so I would go with that. And then you can ask the module to generate a so-called code tag network. That's a really interesting way of analyzing semantically a bunch of videos, but only, of course, if the video creators are actually using tags. So this is again something that they can add. And there it seems to me that most video creators do use tags because apparently it really helps with findability. So people who make videos normally they want to be, they want their videos to be found, so they tag their videos. So for example, I could, this video, I could add a tag for, I don't know, data analysis, another tag for digital methods, maybe one for YouTube analysis, and that should help other people find my videos. And the code tag network basically says, okay, if two tags are present for the same video, they are connected. And we can use this to basically map the semantic space that the videos in that list cover. I'm going to show you that in a moment, and I think you're going to see that it can be really quite interesting. Okay, but let's simply do one of those. Let's generate a video list, and as an example, I'm going to use Andrew Huberman's channel, which I think started roughly 3 years ago. Andrew Huberman is a neuroscientist. He is a very, very successful YouTuber. He makes very long videos about health topics. Mainly, he likes to talk about dopamine quite a bit, and he also really likes to take supplements, which is maybe not all that important for this video, but I think it's a kind of an interesting and I would say somewhat controversial figure. So interesting case. And let's say I want to have here his videos. I want to analyze what he's been doing here, right? I would need his channel ID, and I'm gonna get that by taking the important part here of the URL. So I'm not gonna copy that /videos, but just the stuff that comes before. Gonna go back to the YouTube data tools, gonna select, I'm here on the video list module, right? Select the channel ID. Oh no, that's not gonna work, right? So I forgot a step, important. I'm gonna go to the channel info module. Here I can put the URL in to confirm that I'm not a robot. And here I'm gonna find the ID, right? So, if something doesn't work, make sure, you're doing the right steps. And as you can see, even I can, sometimes forget to do something right. Channel ID, putting it here, selecting CSV, selecting code tag network. We're gonna analyze that as well. And now I really have to confirm that I'm not a robot. Cars. This is of course how Google trains its image recognition models. Oh, traffic light. Gonna help with self-driving here a little bit. And it accepts. I submit. And now it's gonna run. And you can see it's relatively fast, but take into account that there are channels that have a lot of videos, sometimes over 100,000. And if you work with channels that have so many videos, you have to take into account two things. First, it's gonna take a long time to get the data, so remember that. In very, very bad cases, the script may, stop running. So be a bit careful. And also remember that if you don't set a time frame, you can only get the last 100,000 videos from a channel. I mean, that's maybe not that relevant. There are only a couple of hundred channels out there that have more than 100,000 videos, but I just wanted to add that. Okay, we get two output files. The first one is the tagnet file. I'm downloading it. And the second one is the video list spreadsheet file. And I'm going to start with analyzing or, showing you how to do a couple of, I think, pretty powerful operations in Google Sheets. So I've prepared a folder here, and I can directly upload the video list file here. I'm going to double click it, and it's going to show me a preview with this familiar format. You can see channel title, Andrew Huberman. Those are, every row here is one of his videos, and I can open that in Google Sheets now. And it will basically detect all of the columns, and there's quite a bit here. It has a bit more than in the channel list module. You're going to see there's really a bunch of stuff that one could do. I mean, there's the video title, video description. So, one could do textual analysis on here. There's the date here. So we're going to do some analysis over time. There are video categories. There are also the tags somewhere. Yeah, here they are. So we're going to look at those then in a Gephi as a network. And we have a number of interesting quantitative variables here: view count, like count, comment count. Unfortunately, the dislike count is no longer here. But if we want to work with this file, I always do the same thing. I click on the first row, right click, and create a filter, and then we can do a bunch of basic operations already. So we could, for example, say, okay, let's sort, I click here on this green thing, green triangle that it adds when I set the filter. And I could say, sort Z to A. And indeed, it's going to sort my videos by view count. And this could already be a way of selecting a number of videos for analysis. If you, depending on your research question, depending on what you want to find out, want to look at the most viewed videos, well, here you go, right? Interestingly here, for example, we can see that, the video that has the most views is not the one that has the most comments, right? So that could indicate some controversiality. So I'm gonna just look at what are those videos about. Look at the title here. I'm gonna make the column a bit larger. Aha, the most viewed video, dopamine, right? I told you I was gonna come back to that later on. Second most viewed video, the one with the most comments, alcohol, right? Yeah, obviously a subject that everybody has something to say about. Like here you go, right? And we could, for example, use another feature of Google Sheets, here to already see, okay, so dopamine, very important. Are there other videos that deal with that subject? We could again click here and make a textual filter by condition. Text contains dopamine. And indeed, so there are 3 videos that are on this topic. And we could, of course, do the same operations on other columns. Look at, for example, in the tags, or I'm going to remove that filter again, and we're back at all of our videos. Okay, I just want to show you, before introducing the notion of the pivot table, very quickly how to do some very basic temporal analysis. And in order to do that, I just have to quickly talk a bit about these 2 columns here. You can see one's called published at, and the other's called published at SQL. Both are the same exact publishing date, like when the video was, uploaded and published on YouTube, but they're in 2 different formats. And the reason why that's the case is that so this is YouTube's native format, but quite a bit of tools can't deal with that so easily. So I just added a transformation of that in order to make it easier to work with. And a quick A quick way of looking at, for example, views over time could be to select this column, and then, you can select other columns. You can select this one and maybe then this one, and on the Mac you keep the command button key pushed, and then you can select individual columns like this. I think on Windows it's the control key, but try it out. But for temporal analysis, I'm selecting here the date column, and then here the view count, and I can do insert a chart. But that's not what I want, and the reason, so here it's ordered by view count, but I want to see it over time, so I'm going to remove that again, and I'm going to sort the videos here from A to Z in order to also have my chart as I want it. So I'm going to select that column again, and also view count, so you can see both are selected. Insert chart, yeah, and here we get a quick overview of so all of the videos. We can see this was the dopamine video here. I think this is probably the alcohol video here, and we could get some kind of trend information. You can, here on the right, the chart editor, you can go to customize series and then add a trend line. Just gonna make that red and less opaque. Yeah, and you can see there's a bit of a downward trend, but you have to imagine that the older videos, of course, had more time to accumulate viewers. So this is something you have to take into account in your analysis, right? That I mean, those have been online for 1, 2, or 3 years, and maybe also that's why they have more viewers than the newer ones. So that's then interpretation. But in order to do maybe more powerful analysis, and particularly analysis over time, we can use a pivot table. That's one of the most powerful features of spreadsheet software. And I'm going to quickly show you how to do that. What I'm going to try and do is do analysis per month. You can see, for example, this is actually not all that readable without the trend line. So I want to see and check whether I can analyze this per month. I'm just going to delete this chart here again. Mark it, delete it. And I'm going to create a column that basically contains just the month, and the year for each video. And I can then use a pivot table. So a pivot table is a way to calculate values based on the values in a particular column. I think it's going to become a bit clearer as I go along. But in order to do that, I need to create for each video a column that contains the month. And so I created a new column. I just clicked right here, insert column right. So it's an empty column. I'm going to name it month. And I'm basically going to use a formula that is going to create that month information for me. In most or all spreadsheet software, at least that I know of, you start a formula by using the equal sign. And you can already see it's suggesting month, but that's unfortunately not enough. I am going to use the formula text. I'm going to select the cell to the left, so it's column F, and we're in row 2. Yeah, you can see, okay, that's marked now. And I'm going to tell it to use a certain format, and the format's going to be Y, and then Aha. And this indeed created a date format that is going to allow me to sort then also chronologically, so the year first, month second, and it's already suggesting to put that formula in all of the other rows as well? I say yes. If it doesn't do that, you can simply, copy that formula and paste it, in the whole row, and that's gonna do exactly the same thing. So you can now see, okay, yeah, these 4 videos, for example, have the same. They were published in the same month, in January 2021, and that's gonna be that's what I'm gonna pivot around, if you will. So now I'm going to insert a pivot table, and I can go to insert here again, pivot table in a new sheet. So a pivot table allows me to basically say, well, I want to calculate I want to calculate some values based on the same values in some columns. So for example, okay, I want to calculate views per month based on, well, which videos have been published in the same month. And I'm going to do that by adding here on the right a row based on my month column. You can already see that's very nice. So, now I have, the first month when the channel was started, and so forth. Maybe the first thing before doing the view count, I just want to count the number of videos. And for this, I can take, actually it works with most fields. I can take channel ID, for example, and you can already see it's selected here, summarized by count A. And that's basically just a unit counter. And it's already nice, right? I have one video in December here, December 2020, 4, 4, 6, 5, 5, yeah? And I could do the same as I did before with a chart, just marking those, just not gonna take into account the grand total here. Insert, chart, and here we go. And I could, add a trend line and, see, okay, he has, been more prolific recently. There's a slight upward trend in videos. But I'm going to remove that again. And yeah, first thing we can do. And here I could now add, as many values as I want. And indeed, to do view count, well, I'm going to add, where is it? View count. And I could, for example, say, okay, that's the sum of views per month. Yeah, already quite nice. And I can do exactly the same thing. Just watch out if you, select these 2 columns. It's also taking the grand total. So I could remove the total here, here. And then insert chart. Yeah, this is somewhat more readable than the one that we did before. And I could, of course, do something, here and just not have a month column, but a year column, and reduce the granularity that way. So there's a bunch of stuff that one can do with these pivot tables. You could also say, instead of sum, you do, for example, the average and so forth, right? And each one of those things are going to be useful for a different kind of analysis. Okay, so Google Spreadsheets to analyze the CSV file, spreadsheet style file. And now I'm going to move into Gephi to analyze the code tag hashtag, or code tag, co-hashtag, it's actually not hashtag, code tag file. Again, I'm staying here just for one more second. So here are the tags. You can see it's not necessarily one word. So you can see here tag, Andrew Huberman, comma, Dr. Andrew Huberman, comma, neuroscience, comma, change your brain, comma. Each one of those is a tag. All of these tags here are going to be connected because this is what the principle is based on, right? So weightlifting is going to be connected to nootropics. Nootropics is going to be connected to Dr. Andrew Huberman. So you're going to see when I open the file in my network analysis tool there's going to be this these almost like grapes, these kind of very dense zones of tags that very often appear together. So I'm just going to do that. I've already downloaded the file before. I'm going to go into Gephi. I've already opened that. I'm going to go File, Open. Hopefully I can also find that file. It's probably starting with video list. Yes, here it is. Video list, tagnet, open. And well, already it's quite interesting here. There's on the whole 969 different tags. So that's quite a number of tags. And that will hopefully help us get an interesting overview of the topic space covered by Huberman's 177 videos. 13,000 edges, so those are the connections. Well, that's an effect of the fact that, yeah, he's using a lot of tags for each video, and all of them then are connected in there. Graph type, in the last video, the one on channel network, I've said, well, this is a directed network because channels, one channel can link to another without that channel linking back. But here we don't have direction. This is simply they co-appear, so it's an undirected network. Let's open it. All right, so you can already see, this is a bit different than the last one. Almost 1,000 nodes, pretty big blob here. What we generally have here are much fewer variables. So I'm gonna go through the same steps as in the last video. Just gonna work in the beginning by defining size and color to help with readings, right? So each one of those things here is a tag, but for the moment, it doesn't make sense to add the labels. Yeah, there's not much to see here. I mean, maybe before looking into appearance, I could just go into the data laboratory and see. So for example, here I've already ordered the tags by count, and you can already see, those are the most common. Oh, it's actually not ordered. Now it's ordered. Those are the most common, and they are very, very general, So those are all about like Andrew Huberman, science podcast. Well, this one is maybe a bit more specific, neuroscience. I mean, this is really his expertise. But then there's a big drop off after here, and here I think things get more concrete, right? Mental health, well, science still, but then exercise, sleep, neuroplasticity, Andy Galpin, learn faster. So you can already see here a topic space emerging. But as a network, we can look at it in a more structured way. Okay, so finally, coming to appearance. I'm gonna size the nodes by count. Last time I did 525. As I've said, yeah, this is something you have to play around with to increase readability. Color, there's not many options. I'm going to use degree, which is basically the number of other tags a tag is connected with. So there may be some tags that are kind of connectors, topic connectors. So degree, of course, it's going to be correlated to count, right? The more often a tag appears, probably also the more connected it is. But there may be tags that actually really play the role of connecting topics. So that's why degree is interesting. And I'm applying that, and you can already see, well, in this case, well, somewhat unsurprisingly, the biggest nodes, which are the one with the highest count, also have the highest degree. Okay, let's lay out this a little bit. I'm going here in the layout panel, selecting Force Atlas 2, the most common layout algorithm in Gephi, and I'm going to run it. And let's see, you can see some stuff. You can see these kind of topic clusters here that I've told you about before, and then really here in the middle, and these are, I mean, very probably, you can already have a look, showing the tags, the black T here, making it smaller. yeah, you can already see those are exactly those kind of very general tags here that are maybe actually not the most interesting, right? That are there. In the end, though, I really think it doesn't make that much sense to work with here almost 1,000 nodes. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them only appear once. So my suggestion is to make all of this a bit more readable is to filter. And I've already opened here on the right the filtering pane or panel, and I can select here. I'm open up attributes, and I always like to use range. Aha, it suggests count here. I double click on that, and now I can see, you know, here's the count. The lowest value is 1, the highest value is 177, and I could, you know, use the slider, but I can also use just type a number here, and then basically, yeah, so the it means that I'm only going to show nodes that have at least a count of 10. Filter that. Yeah, that's maybe, you know, that's maybe a bit too vigorous here. I'm gonna use 5. Okay, that's also maybe really it's 3. Aha, yeah, that could be. That looks already quite interesting. I'm gonna run that again. Oof. But you can see that's not nice. So I have to space things out a bit. Go scaling here. And I've said in a previous video that this is as much art as it is science. Yeah, I've spaced it out now a bit more. I'm gonna also do the prevent overlap. Okay, right? So now we have already quite a bit of structure here. The thing is, everything's being held together by these big ones here in the middle. Still, we see some stuff appearing here. For example, you can see sleep, improve sleep, sleep better, and then exercise already moving out here. Yeah, exercise connects to fitness. And the Galpin, what is he talking about? So this already gives us some reading here. But what we could do in order to make this like fall apart a bit more is actually, I'm just gonna delete a bunch of tags here. I'm gonna delete all of those like super general tags here. I think you can also hide them, but I think in order to space them out, I have to delete them. Yeah, unfortunately in Gephi, you can't undo these kind of things. So yeah, well, you have to make sure that oh no. Oh, I'm not gonna delete them here. What I'm gonna do is gonna go back here. I'm just gonna set the range to 100 here on the top. Aha, and gone they are, because remember, you know, now they're also hidden here, but they all had, there was a big drop off. So all of those big ones, they had like basically 100 or more. So this is a way of filtering stuff without actually deleting the nodes. That's good that I thought about this. And now, we're getting, I can actually apply this again. Oh no, that doesn't work there. I really would have to delete them. But now we get something that's a bit more spaced out. And I'm going to try and see topic clusters. I mean, we can see this here already emerging, right? Exercise, fitness here, artificial sweeteners, diet. So let's try and go statistics, detecting clusters with modularity. I'm running that, leaving the parameters the same. Get some results, close, and now I can go up here into color, yeah, here, partition, modularity class. So it has created a new value here, and it has detected 7 clusters, right? And those, yeah, that looks quite interesting. So here it seems to be what? Very brain related, right? Learning, brain science, brain health. And then diet is an interesting connector, I think, here between different things. But here, mental health, very mental, grief, self-improvement, stress. Here we've got the famous dopamine, right? Hormones connected to testosterone. Here we have the fitness cluster. And here we have, I think, something that, yeah, nutrition. Here we have gut health. So you can see this gives us already a kind of an interesting overview of the various topics this channel is treating. And here we could, again, of course, go further, but I'm going to stop here. This is already a very long video. So I'm sorry for that. But I think you can see that something as simple as a list of videos can be analyzed in many different ways. On the one side, yeah, through this spreadsheet logic, but also through this network logic. Yeah, that's it. Have a nice day.